he was the one person that Clint Walker despised the most. The birth of Clint Walker took place. The man born Norman Eugene Walker in Hartford, Illinois on May 30, 1927, became a household name during the golden age of American television, thanks to his portrayal of legendary Western characters. Walker inherited a strong work ethic and resiliency from his working-class family as a child of the Great Depression, things that will subsequently make up his gruff on-screen image. After working as a factory worker, riverboat crewman, and Las Vegas doorman after dropping out of high school, he joined the Merchant Marine and served with honor throughout WWII. He unexpectedly broke into Hollywood thanks to his 6'6" stature, broad shoulders, deep voice, and composed personality, all of which attracted attention. In 1955, Walker landed his big break when he was hired as Cheyenne Bodie in the groundbreaking hour-long Western television series Cheyenne. The show was a huge success for the then-nascent ABC network. Clint Walker became one of the first television stars after landing the part, which brought him widespread fame. His portrayal of Cheyenne, a lone cowboy with an unfaltering sense of justice and a strong moral compass, struck a chord with American audiences during the post-war era of hope and changing values. His portrayal shaped the stereotypical heroic Western hero and inspired countless screen figures to follow in his footsteps. From 1955 through 1963, Cheyenne aired for 8 seasons, and Walker's performance became a symbol of the genre's popularity, fusing machismo with morality in a manner that very few performers could match. Along with his success on television, Walker made the jump to the big screen in the 1950s, 1960s, and 1970s, appearing in a number of critically acclaimed films. In the 1967 action classic The Dirty Dozen, he co-starred with John Wayne as the quiet but deadly Samson Posey, a character from World War II. Even into the 1980s, he continued to make cameos in TV movies and guest spots, and his resume also features westerns like Yellowstone Kelly, 1959, Gold of the Seven Saints, 1961, and More Dead Than Alive, 1969. A popular Western adventure picture from 1966, Night of the Grizzly, included him, and it demonstrated his acting chops. Walker yearned for chances to show off his versatility, despite being stereotyped as a cowboy or man of action. His legacy as an adaptable actor was solidified by his experiments with voice acting and guest starring in numerous shows in the 1970s and 1980s. Clint Walker was well known behind the scenes for his modesty and appreciation of his followers. He had a largely scandal-free private life, in contrast to many of his contemporaries in Hollywood. A symbol of unwavering strength, he persevered through personal catastrophes like the motorbike accident that killed his daughter Valerie. Additionally, he amazingly recovered and went back to acting after a 1971 skiing accident that nearly killed him. A ski pole had penetrated his heart, and doctors had declared him dead. His reputation as an actor and human being with extraordinary strength was further solidified by this episode. Even after walking away from the acting scene in the late 90s, Walker remained in constant communication with fans. He kept in touch with fans who had followed his career for years and attended Western fan conferences often. Those who loved old Westerns and traditional television saw him as representing a more honorable and upright time in storytelling, and his legacy lived on. Despite the Western genre's decline in popularity, Clint Walker ensured that its essence would endure through his efforts. The towering film presence and rugged Western reputation of Clint Walker often eclipsed his personal life. However, beneath that cowboy hat was a private, grounded side of the man and his 3 long-term marriages, each lasting nearly 2 decades, reflected that, in 1948, as he was starting to rise from a modest, working-class background to a profession that would eventually bring him fame and fortune, he tied the knot with Verna Garver, his first wife. During Walker's early years of becoming famous, the couple had a close relationship, overcoming the obstacles of starting over in the entertainment industry side by side. They had a daughter, Valerie, in 1950, the year they were married. During the 1950s, when Clint's acting career took off because to his portrayal as Cheyenne Body on the popular TV show Cheyenne, his relationships with Verna and Valerie were crucial. Growing up in the limelight that her famous father cast, Valerie would eventually carve out her own path in aviation, a profession that has long been dominated by men. Her incredible feat of becoming one of the first female airline pilots in the U.S. echoed the pioneering spirit her father embodied in Hollywood. After 20 years of marriage, Clint and Verna's marriage came to an end in 1968, despite a bright beginning. Their common history and daughter kept them connected. Even after they split ways, they continued to share in the pride of Valerie's unprecedented successes. A few years down the road, in 1974, Clint Walker tied the knot with Giselle Hennessy. In contrast to the hectic Hollywood lifestyle, their partnership was marked by quiet commitment and mutual regard. In the twilight of Clint's career, those closest to him spoke of Giselle as a beautiful, gentle soul who brought stability and elegance into his life. During their 20 years of marriage, Clint mostly avoided the hectic world of film and television, making cameo appearances but otherwise focusing on a quiet and satisfying home life. Clint was profoundly saddened by the loss of Giselle in 1994, which ended a cherished chapter in his life. Yet their relationship continued till then. With grace and gentle grief, he bore the emptiness that her death had created. Clint Walker eventually found company again after a period of sadness and seclusion. The third and last of his wives, Susan Cavallari, he wed in 1997. Their marriage was a fresh start in the latter stages of Clint's life, based on common ground, caring for one another, and the solace of long-term friendship. Throughout his twilight years, Susan was there for Clint, providing constant encouragement and enjoying the tranquility of retirement together. He spent his senior years in seclusion and contemplation, in contrast to his previous years that were crammed with film sets, public engagements, and television studios. Love, laughter, and the unbreakable bond of a friendship and loyalty, rather than glitz and glitter, defined Clint and Susan's lives together away from the limelight. Their marriage lasted until Clint Walker passed away in 2018, bringing an end to a life story filled with personal dedication, enduring love, and a rich cinematic legacy. Famous for his portrayal of the mild-mannered yet rough and tumble cowboy Cheyenne Body in the smash TV western Cheyenne, the tall Clint Walker was revered for his unflappable demeanor, profound voice, and subtle power. Visible on screen, those who Walker represented frequently were fighters for justice and peace who might also resort to brute force when necessary. He avoided the usual Hollywood drama and gossip, with an even temperament and a strong work ethic in real life. But fellow actor James Garner was the one person in the entertainment industry who could infuriate Walker more than anybody else. James Garner, who played the major role of Maverick with charm and charisma, was a fellow TV Westerner from Walker's heyday. Warner Brothers hired both men in the late 1950s when the studio was capitalizing on the American love of frontier fiction with a string of hit Western series. Cheyenne, played by Walker, adopted a somber, melancholy tone in contrast to Garner's playful and astute maverick, who made use of Garner's inherent charisma and comic timing. Their disagreements, on and off screen, began with this artistic split. There was hatred between the two stars that grew between them behind the scenes and continued to fester throughout the years. Garner personified all that Walker despised about the Hollywood system. In Walker's view, Garner frequently defied studio authority with his snarky remarks and outspoken personality, been known to renege on a 1960 contract with Warner Brothers, and then sue the studio for contract violation, one that he was successful in winning. Clint Walker, a man of discipline and strong personal principles, thought Garner's maverick streak was haughty and inconsiderate, even though some loved it since it was true to his character's name. Walker preferred to let his work do the talking, although he was famously incredibly devoted and kept a low profile on set. He was proud of his professionalism and his ability to avoid unneeded controversy. On the other hand, Garner was not bashful in criticizing those he thought were unworthy of fame, whether it be executives, producers, or even fellow performers. Several sources state that Garner once downplayed Walker's talents, calling him just a big guy with muscles and no depth. Such remarks hurt Walker tremendously and stayed with him because he battled so hard to be acknowledged for his serious performance and not his physical appearance. Warner Brothers' promotional events frequently pitted its stars against each other, sometimes subtly and other times more obviously, to attract attention and interest from the media, which exacerbated the animosity between them. Walker believed he was being utilized as a counterpoint to Garner's incisive wit and leading man charisma, and the media frequently fueled the animosity by constantly comparing the two. Because Walker prioritized togetherness and genuineness over ostentation, he found this form of competitiveness repugnant. There was obviously no cordial relationship between Clint Walker and Garner, as he avoided discussing the two in subsequent interviews but did so when pressed directly. While some guys tread a path of decency, others walk over people to go ahead, as Walker so subtly but firmly put it once. Even while he didn't specifically mention anyone, many of his close associates took it as a subtle dig at Garner. Walker may have avoided public feuds and outbursts, but his friends, family, and co-stars all agreed that Garner was the only actor who could genuinely frighten him. His accusers said that he harbored a secret resentment against him for what he perceived as a consistent pattern of actions that ran against his fundamental beliefs. Despite the intense enmity that developed behind the scenes, both guys continued to be idols of their respective Western series, and many fans respected them equally. Clint Walker and James Garner exemplified opposite mid-century American values of manhood, honor, and fame, despite sharing a passion for the Western genre and a similar path to stardom. James Garner was more than simply an adversary to Clint Walker. He embodied all that was repulsive to Walker regarding the entertainment industry. Although Clint Walker seldom talked badly of anyone, his closest friends and family say that James Garner was the one person he truly despised. A powerful term for someone noted for his reserve. The resentment was subtle, but it was genuine and persisted for many years. In the tranquil village of Grass Valley, California, on May 21, 2018, departed Clint Walker, the towering broad-shouldered actor famed for his famous portrayal as Cheyenne Body on the long-running television western Cheyenne. A great life and career came to a close when he was just a few days away from celebrating his 91st birthday. With a duration of almost 100 years, His demise was deemed due to congestive heart failure, a medical ailment where the heart muscle fails to pump blood adequately, frequently as a consequence of cumulative damage over time. His health had been quietly deteriorating in his last months, but his loved ones kept it a secret, even though he looked remarkably strong and energetic even in his twilight years. Not only did Walker's countless fans from the 50s and 60s lament his death, but so did his close, knit family, who remembered him as a loving father, husband, and relative, not just a larger-than-life Hollywood star. Valerie Walker, his cherished daughter from his previous marriage to Verna Garver, was his only surviving child. The fact that Valerie was one of the first American female airline pilots is evidence of the strong sense of self-reliance that appears to be in her family's DNA. They maintained a tight relationship throughout the years, and she spoke fondly of her father, remembering his kindness and inner strength. Susan Cavallari, Walker's third wife from 1997, was also alive when he passed away. Throughout their 20-plus-year marriage, they had been each other's silent companions, held each other to high moral standards, and avoided the limelight whenever possible. After losing loved ones and experiencing a decrease in his health, Walker's later years were marked by a profound sense of security and stability that he attributed to Susan. Friends said the couple's relationship was one of real warmth and profound mutual respect, even though they mostly kept their lives together private. Along with his wife and daughter, Clint also left behind a grandson and a half-sister, all of whom were very close to him and treasured the moments they shared with him in his last years. Everyone says that when Walker was not playing the cold Western hero, he was a kind and devoted family man, respected for his modesty, generosity, and undying devotion to his loved ones. Reflection on his early familial roots, especially his link to his twin sister Lucille Westbrook, was prompted by his passing. The extraordinary and strong friendship that these siblings had, born Norman Eugene Walker and Lucille on May 30, 1927, persisted for over 7 decades. Clint had suffered a profound emotional loss with Lucille's passing in the year 2000. Even as he became famous in Hollywood, his twin brother's presence had been a constant presence throughout his childhood, providing him with a feeling of family and belonging. In the wake of Clint Walker's untimely passing, condolences and memories of his magnetic on-screen presence and his kind, modest personality began to trickle in. The end of an era came with his passing. It was the age of American television westerns, where stoic characters like Cheyenne Bodie enchanted millions. In addition to his immeasurable impact on the film and television industries, Clint Walker is survived by his devoted family, who hold him in high esteem not just as an actor, but also as a man of exceptional integrity, unassuming grace, and unwavering fortitude.